Hello. Now, if you're a high functioning woman in your 40s, you're likely successful and you're capable, and you're the one that everybody depends on. But lately, even simple things feel mentally exhausting in ways that you can't fully explain. So, I would like you to know something very important before we go any further. And what I'd like you to know is that you're not lazy, and you're not weak, and you're not failing. Because what many women experience during this stage of life is far deeper than simply being stressed. I see this all the time. Women manage careers, businesses, children, relationships, households, responsibilities, deadlines, and endless emotional pressure, while privately feeling overwhelmed, emotionally exhausted, mentally overloaded, and unable to switch off. And of course, that will cause you also to be increasingly disconnected from yourself. And often nobody sees it, do they? And do you know why? Because high functioning women become very skilled at continuing to perform while they're still struggling massively internally. And that's one of the reasons this gets missed for so long. Many women spend years believing this. Oh, I just need to push harder. I just need to work harder. I just need to get more done. Oh, I just need to be more organized. Oh, I should be coping better. Oh, why does everything feel so difficult for me lately? But what many people don't realize is that the nervous system can only compensate under pressure for so long before it begins struggling itself. And for many women, that pressure has been building quietly for years upon years. And all of a sudden, it's just there. You're overthinking. Perhaps you're people pleasing or constantly staying mentally on and emotionally carrying everyone else, trying not to fall behind and trying not to disappoint people and trying to hold everything together. From the outside, that can absolutely look like success. But internally, many women are functioning in a near constant state of mental tension and nervous system overload, and they don't even realize it. And then eventually, the system starts speaking louder. And that's often when women begin noticing things like having brain fog, things like mental exhaustion and difficulty concentrating, or emotional sensitivity, overwhelm, forgetfulness, difficulty switching off, or feeling emotionally reactive, struggling with tasks that once felt manageable. There's so much changes in perimenopause. And because that happens gradually, many women quietly start fearing the worst. You're probably thinking, what's happening to me? Why can't I handle things the way I used to? Am I burning out? Am I losing myself? All these messages running around in your head. But what's really important to understand is that hormones, stress tolerance, emotional regulation, sleep, nervous system functioning, and attention are all deeply connected. So when hormonal change begins during perimenopause and menopause, many women notice that the coping systems that they relied on for all those years suddenly stop working in the same way. Now, it's not because they became incapable, but it's because the nervous system underneath that's been carrying more than people realize for such a long time. And in some women, there may also be underlying ADHD related patterns that were never recognized earlier in life. Not because they weren't intelligent, quite the opposite actually. Not because they weren't capable, because clearly they were, but because many high functioning women learned how to compensate so effectively that their internal struggle has remained invisible. And because of that, they became the organized one, the responsible one, the reliable one, the strong one, while privately, behind the scenes or behind the eyes, carrying enormous mental pressure underneath all of it. Now, one thing I commonly see is women who can handle huge responsibility professionally, yet come home and feel mentally paralyzed by simple, everyday decisions. That is not uncommon. And the guilt attached to that can also be very overwhelming because other people only see the functioning version. They don't see the exhaustion underneath it, the pressure that you're putting on yourself underneath it. And I also see many women who have spent years being treated for anxiety or stress, burnout, or emotional exhaustion. And while support may help to some degree, absolutely, there's often still a deeper feeling, a feeling that something still doesn't fully explain why life feels this mentally difficult or hard. And that's one of the reasons I became so interested in emotional regulation, nervous system support, and the deeper psychological patterns underneath the overwhelm. Because information alone it's rarely enough, isn't it? It can help you, of course, but it's rarely enough. And what people need, they need help to calm their nervous system. They need to change the internal dialogue, rebuild self-trust, and reducing the emotional overload, and then learning how to stop living in survival mode all the time. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is helping people feel calmer. The goal is helping people feel clearer, emotionally safer, and much more connected to themselves again. Connected to who you are, not how you look and how you feel, to who you are. Because once people understand that, they realize what's happening underneath the surface. The shame starts lifting. The guilt starts lifting. And that changes everything.